Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the GioMoShow, Oakland men's basketball game reviews. I am your host, Giovanni Moshieri, and be sure to rate, review, and subscribe to the GioMoShow for weekly coverage of the Oakland Golden Grizzlies. And here with me today to celebrate now the 3-game win streak the Golden Grizzlies are on in conference play, some on the road and some at home. It is the associate head coach of the Golden Grizzlies, Jeff Smith, returns to the show. Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. It's always good to join you and be a part of your show and appreciate the invitation.
Of course. Coach, what I want to run through with you today is, we not so much the Northern Kentucky game. I covered that last week, but the past 2 games of this week against IU Indy and Detroit, and what we got coming up for us on the horizon tomorrow against Purdue Fort Wayne and Robert Morris. So we'll start chronologically going into IU Indy. When it comes to a game like that, where it was pretty evident early on that you guys had control of the game. What can you kind of take away from a game like that where it was more or less business as usual, leading to a win?
Well, I think we really tried to challenge our team going into that week because we felt as though we really established who we are and how we were going to play and what our home court was going to mean to us with the Milwaukee game. And then, we just credit to Robert Morris, but we just didn't play very well. And matter of fact, today we've been watching some of the clips as we're getting ready for the game on Saturday with them here in the office. And, we just looked exhausted mentally and physically. And so we really challenged our guys going into that week of reestablishing how we were going to play at home in this building. And that was we were going to just really defend at a high level for 40 minutes, be very good at the rebounding area of the game. And then offensively, you can't get caught up in whether or not the ball's going in the hole. We know that our best offense is when we put that thing inside and put it in the hands of Allen and Baru and play inside-out basketball. And so what we wanted to do was just reestablish who we are, especially in our building. And I think we did that. I think we came out and we played with great energy right from the beginning. And we worked our way through it for 40 minutes and got ourselves another home win.
And one player I wanted to spotlight here, or I guess we could say two, but they play a bit of a similar role. Nassim Mashour and Jack Hoth, two of the younger guys that provide a little bit of a jolt on offense from deep. For both those guys, I know Jack coming in a little bit more recently off the red shirt, but both of those guys have been making a couple of threes a game in the past few. What have you seen so far from them, and kind of what do they bring to this offense going forward?
Well, I think with Nassim, he's gotten better and better as the year has gone on. I think the level of comfort within the system, and we've talked about this all the time. Like coming here and playing in this system it's not easy. It's a very, very complicated defensive system with that matchup zone, and it's very unique. And so it takes a while to learn that. And then on the offensive side of it, there's Coach Campy's playbook it's extensive. And, Nassim came in and we tried to put the ball in his hands and have him be the point guard. And, that's maybe not the most natural position for him. But what we found is that he's a really, really good basketball player. He's a smart kid. He's a tough kid. And we've been able to move him off the ball where he has, as you said, made some shots for us out on the perimeter, but he also can handle the ball and be a decision maker as a secondary ball handler. And so he's doing great. I think when you look at his progress throughout the course of the season, especially on a daily basis, being with him, really, really happy and thankful for his success. And Jack, I mean, that's a totally different story. I mean, that guy, until 3 days before the Northern Kentucky game, thought he was going to finish out his redshirt season. And, then we had Malcolm gets hurt and we don't know if he's going to even come back, and Woody's been dealing with what he's been dealing with. And so we needed another guy that can make shots out there. And, you got to get a lot of credit to Jack Hoth, because most people would not be willing to give up their entire year on or around January 15th to take that red shirt off and go in with not a lot of certainty as to how many shots you're going to get, how many minutes you're going to play. But that's just who Jack is. He's, and Chang's the same way. They're selfless. They're selfless guys. They're great teammates. They really care about our program. They care about their teammates. And when Jack had the opportunity to do it, he jumped at it, and really happy for him. Hope he can continue to get more and more comfortable. And I'd like to see more shots go through the net than what we've seen thus far.
And then one last point for this IU Indy game, and we'll have a similar end to the Detroit one. Talk to me about the improvement that program has had in just 1 year, because for them and Detroit, like that was some pretty deep depths they found themselves in. So seeing the turnaround this year, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think he's come in and done a great job. He's got a very similar roster to what he had when he was at the Division two school in Indianapolis, and all he's done is bring in some older guys, and I think that's a big thing. But they play with toughness, they play with purpose, and we told our guys going into it, I said, this is not your dad's IUPUI team now. These guys, they're going to make it physical, they're going to play hard. I think that you'll see that program just continue to get better and better, and it's good for our league. Although it's as a coach, it's always nice to have a couple teams in your league that you can just kind of write it in, and you're going to get a couple of W's out of that deal. But for our conference and for their program, it's good to see them having some success. And as long as we keep beating them, it's all good.
And now moving on to the road trip, the rivalry game in Detroit. Coach, for that one, like how quickly did you guys figure out that this one was going to be a bar fight and this one's going to be a true rivalry game? Tough and gritty type of play.
I think we knew going into it. I think that, and I think the rivalry is reestablished now. I mean, I think that Mark has done a great job. They've got a lot of young guys, that they've had to play because of some injuries, but those kids are playing really, really hard. And then the veteran guys that he does have are good players, and they're familiar with where we are. There's a familiarity with Detroit and with Oakland. And you look at the staff. The staff at Detroit now is made up. It's all Michigan guys. And then when you come here, our staff it's all Michigan guys. And so the players know each other, the coaches know each other. I mean, Mark Montgomery and I worked together on the same staff for 4 years. A long time ago, we were roommates on the road, and we've known each other forever. And so we all knew going into this thing that it was going to be a rock fight because his teams always play with a high level of physicality. They're going to defend, they're going to rebound, they're going to make things hard. And so, the rivalry is definitely renewed. And I think a large part of that is because of the amount of people who are familiar with this state and these two programs. And it's good. It's good for both schools. It's good for our league. To see that there were actually some people at Callahan Hall again was awesome. And other than their student section that they were just brutal to Isaiah, the atmosphere in there was great, and it was a lot of fun. I look forward to that for years to come.
And now, Coach, I want to switch gears here, looking at the week at hand. At home against Purdue Fort Wayne, that's tomorrow on Wednesday, and then you hit the road for Moon Township to rematch against Robert Morris. For the Purdue Fort Wayne game, I mean, that's one of the best teams in the league and the top scoring team in the league. Like that's one of the big dogs in the Horizon League this week. So give me a quick scouting report. What are you guys looking to do to slow down this Mastodon offense?
Well, that's, when we started this conversation, we talked about how we wanted to reestablish how we play in this building. And that's going to be tested this week because Purdue Fort Wayne, as you said, offensively, they are as gifted and talented as anybody. They have guys that have been through the league, that know the league, and in the day and age of college basketball now, in this climate, when you have players who are returning to your program, you automatically have an advantage because they've been through it. They know the conference, they know where you're going, and they've played with each other. And this group of guys, they shoot the ball, they run the ball down the floor. They have two elite driving guards in Jackson and Bello. I mean, those two guys are tremendous basketball players. And then guys who can shoot it like Nelson, Morton Robinson. They got Hadnot coming off the bench, who now, after being in the program a couple of years, they are lethal on the offensive side of it. And if they get Mulder back, the big kid who, he was shooting 80% from the floor and getting almost 4 offensive rebounds a game before he got hurt. And he shoots 80% from the floor because everything's a dunk or a layup. And he's very good at crashing the glass. So they've got a great recipe, and it's a reason why they're scoring in the 90s. But, Milwaukee came in here averaging 92 points a game in their last 5 games. They're different than Fort Wayne, but for us, the key is going to be offensively, we've got to take care of the basketball because Fort Wayne wants to try to steal it and turn you over. And when they get out in transition, they are very similar to Michigan State. They're gonna lay it up before you know what happened, or they're gonna shoot a 3 before you know what happened. And if you turn that thing over and let them get loose, it's gonna be a long night for you. So we got to take care of the basketball, get it inside, play inside out. We have an advantage, I believe, with Baru and Allen around the basket on the offensive side of it, and we've got to take advantage of that. And then after we score, we have to get back because they run on makes. And then when we get into the half court, they do a tremendous job of moving you around, man or zone, and then driving that ball and then finding guys for threes. And so, our defense is going to be tested at an unbelievably high level tomorrow night. But I think that if we do what we're supposed to do, we'll be in a position to give ourselves a chance to win in the last 2 or 3 minutes, and that's all you can ask for.
And then the one last note to get to the road game against Robert Morris. You referenced it at the top of our interview here, but give me kind of the same deal for that game. Scouting report, what are the goals? What are you guys looking to do in Moon Township other than obviously win?
Yeah, I mean, I think for us to get the win, we have to go in there, and it's similar. They present some different issues than what Fort Wayne does, but they've got an elite guard in Cam Woods. They've got the international player Figueres. He is very skilled, and then Dickerson just is a shot blocking machine. And so, they got pieces around them. But for us, I think the key that we have found, especially on the defensive side of it, is we have to play with an unbelievable amount of intensity and an unbelievable amount of purpose in that zone. And when we do that, we have nights like we did against Milwaukee, against Northern Kentucky, against IU, Indy, and Detroit. And then when we don't, we have nights like we had against Robert Morris the first time, like what we had against Cleveland State. And so our guys are learning that. I mean, I tell anybody that wants to listen, this is a great group of guys that we have on this roster. They are fun to be around every single day. They show up, they do the work, and so they've been learning and growing, and I'm really proud of the efforts that they've made. And but this week is going to test us, and it's a big one for us because it can keep us right in position to make that run to still get a chance to try to win the regular season. And certainly, number one goal is always to be in the top four so that you get the bye in the home game. Second goal is to try to win the regular season. And then obviously the third goal is get to Indy and try to win it and get back in the NCAA tournament. So this is a big week for us. These two games are going to test us, one at home, one on the road, and we need to be ready for that.
And you guys are knocking on the door of that top four spot, jumping up 3 spots in the standings from last week. Now at fifth, just a game behind Youngstown State at fourth place. So, Coach, that's all I got for you. I appreciate you taking the time here, giving us a preview of this week as well as a review of last week. So we appreciate you taking the time.
Anytime, man. I'm always happy to sit and talk with you, and I look forward to seeing you at the games, my friend.
And that's going to conclude us here on the Joe Show. Be sure to rate, review, and subscribe for weekly coverage of the Golden Grizzlies. And we'll see you guys soon right here on the Joe Show.